everyone. In this chapter, we will start learning about the Java Foundation classes, which mainly includes 5 modules: Java API, string classes, math classes, date and time classes, and wrapper classes. The API stands for Application Programming Interface, which refers to the interfaces provided by a software library. The Java API describes the classes and methods in the library, including their inputs, outputs, and other functionalities. Why do we need to learn the API? By this point in our Java learning journey, you may already understand class definitions, object creation, and usage, as well as inheritance and interface implementation. But do you know how to modify a file's name? How about calculating the execution time of a code snippet, or generating a random integer between 1 and 50? Please have a look at the code snippet below. Do you know what functionality it implements? You might not know. However, the Java language provides us with various libraries that make it convenient to implement system functionalities, such as reading files, handling time and mathematical calculations, and more. Imagine that if we didn't have these convenient libraries and had to start everything from scratch, Java, no one would be willing to learn Java in that case. However, with the abundance of libraries available, it's impossible to learn them all. In such cases, when encountering unfamiliar code, we need to learn how to consult the documentation or use search engines, like Baidu, to find answers. Next, we will learn how to view the documentation, or use search engines like Baidu. When using the API, we have 2 goals. The first goal is to understand the code, which means using the documentation or search engines to query the functionality of each code snippet in order to comprehend the code. The second goal is to write code, which involves analyzing the requirements of a certain functionality, consulting the documentation, or using search engines to write the corresponding code. Let's start by achieving the first goal of understanding the code. We will take the string class as an example. First, let's take a look at the structure of the API documentation. Taking JDK 1.8 documentation as an example, the left side of the diagram is the navigation area, which serves as our index. We can input the class we want to query in the index. The middle part is the navigation area for the web version of the documentation. Once we enter a search query, this page will disappear. The upper part of the middle column displays the packages, while the lower part displays the classes within the package. The right side is the content display area, which shows the specific content of the class. The second step is to mark the unfamiliar classes or methods and the corresponding classes of unfamiliar methods on the source code. In this code snippet, we can find the indexo function, which we are not familiar with. We need to identify the object on which this function is used. Is str in this case. So, we need to mark str. Date. Additionally, we find date, simple.format, and the format method. The third step is to enter string in the search box of the index. We can find the structure of inheritance tree, class definition, and class description. The documentation contains a lot of information, and you can have a rough understanding of its functionalities, especially when viewing the Chinese version. Please note that the translation might not be smooth. It's recommended to refer to the English version whenever possible. The fourth step is to locate the indexOf method within the class. Since this method is used on objects, it is listed in the instance method list. When found, we can see that there are multiple indexOf methods. In this case, we need to determine the specific method based on its parameters. By clicking on the method, we can access the detailed method description. In this description, we can see that this method returns the index position of the first occurrence of the specified parameter within the string. If it does not occur, it returns 1. We can test this code snippet in the tool and observe that the result is 6. Why is it 6? We can see that the indexing of a string starts from 0, so it appears at index 6. However, when searching for Java, it returns 1, because the case of Java does not match the original string. Java is a case-sensitive language. Therefore, it is considered non-existent and returns 1. By understanding these lines of code, lines 8 to 10, we have completed the fourth step. Now let's try the code from lines 12 to 14. I encourage everyone to try it out. Here's a hint. By locating the data class and read its description, then find the simple.format class and read its description. Simple.format is a class that can format or parse specific dates. It has 3 main functionalities: formatting, parsing, and normalization. We need to determine the template or pattern to parse the given string. To find the pattern, we can refer to the page that provides hints, such as HTML, which represents specific meanings. Let's find the format method. When searching, you may notice that you cannot find it directly. There is a format method, but with different parameters. So, what should we do in this case? We need to search in its parent class. After searching through the parent class, we continue to search in the parent class until we find the method. In this case, the format method is found in its grandparent class. Once you find this method, try to understand its meaning. That concludes the hints. I hope you can find the relevant explanations. Next, we will demonstrate how to understand this code using Baidu. When using Baidu to understand the code, we first need to determine the keywords for the search. Make sure to include Java as the first keyword, followed by the name of the class you want to search, and then the specific method. After opening the web page, perform the search. It will display many related pages, and we need to select them carefully. Finally, we can also look at related example codes. That's all for this lesson. I hope you will start changing their learning methods from today onwards and learn how to search for information effectively. This will help you become independent learners. Given string s equals a, b, c, d, e, f, g, the return value of s substring r5 is